I, Jason Hunt is a digital marketing entrepreneur, speaker, podcaster who's co-founded Merged Media in Toronto and runs related projects, including the Merged Marketing Group, Merged Marketing Podcast, Drop the Mic with Jason Hunt, and Chatello AI chatbot product. So, Jason, you are an all-rounder in the space of getting messages out there. You have a specialization area in the dental arena, which interests me greatly. And I really wanted to ask you some more in-depth questions. And I just felt we should record this.
Absolutely. Craig, thank you very much for, accommodating my time difference being here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Obviously, dental marketing has been a huge focal point for our agency because we have so many great case studies in this industry and we've been working in it for 10 plus years now. And it's not the only industry we focus on, but definitely one that we're very proud of working in and can showcase a lot of case studies around it.
Those case studies are really so important because it literally shows the proof of your achievements. And I was saying before that the dental practices are all different, but in essence, they're all the same as well. They're all trying to achieve the same results. They're trying to achieve good service to their clients, good outcomes to their clients, but they also want to stick a few dollars in their back pocket as well.
100%. And you're absolutely right. I mean, what separates one from the next one, right? And this is the thing that resonates on a lot of the minds of the potential patients that are going to those practices. It's like, do I choose this one or this one? Should I choose this one because it's 2 kilometers from my destination or from my location? Or do I choose this one that has more Google reviews? It's these questions that people ask. And what we find through our experience is what resonates most with people is really that practice that remains top of mind. And there's certain tactics you can deploy online to be top of mind. Let's say, like for myself, I recently was actually in that situation where I was looking for a new practice. I live in a new town here just outside of Toronto, and I was looking for a local practice. So I did my thing that most people do, and I did a Google search, did my due diligence, read the reviews. All of them seem great, like great options. Even read the 1-star reviews. You should read those as well. But at the end of the day, it was that one that continued to hit my Instagram feed that kept top of mind with me, like giving me education on certain things, why I should get my teeth whitened, like all these type of things that kept that specific practice top of mind with me. And it made my decision to go to that practice very easy when the time was right for me to choose a dental practice to go to. So, you got to think about that journey of somebody that's looking for a dental practice. They typically don't grab it right away. They think about it. I should get my teeth checked. They sit on it. It could be weeks later when they see that Instagram or Facebook ad and it resonates with them again. Hey, I got to get that done. Click, book an appointment. Next thing you know, I'm a bum in a chair.
And that is the way that it is today. Now, people say when you talk to them, oh, I want to be the world's best such and such. I want to be the best at this. Do they really need to be the best? Or based on what you're saying there, do they need to be the best front of mind, the best in the client's world, rather than the best in the world?
What does best mean, right? And in my opinion, when we're talking about best, it's really who has the best personal brand in my opinion, is what it is. Who is that dental practice owner or business owner that is known, liked, and trusted more so above the rest? Because that's the person I'm going to go to.
Excuse me, even in my jeans and it looks like I'm nicely formatted here, but I've got jeans on. I'm going to stand and applaud for that. I really am. Because that is absolutely, totally and utterly true. That is the primary message. It really is. It's your personal brand, isn't it?
Think about this, right? Like, let's say if you're going to go buy a product or service and your friend does that product or service, you're going to go to your friend. You need to create a personal brand out there that is liked amongst the masses. And you have the power, using the likes of social media, to storyboard a journey for that potential patient or customer, right? You can put a very specific ad, a video in front of them, and then retarget them after they watch 50% of that video. Think about how you can storyboard that journey for that person to earn credibility and trust with.
Storyboard. Now, that's a term I understand because I've built applications and I've built systems before. But from a marketing perspective, What does storyboarding mean to the founder of the dental practice?
Yeah, it's really showing up in that potential patient's face in a sequential manner on a regular basis. Okay. What I mean by that, in a sequential manner on a regular basis. Well, if you put an ad for a testimonial on some random person that says they had a great experience at your practice, that's great. That's not the right time to present a person with that ad. You need to address the pain point initially, right? Maybe that potential patient doesn't even know they have a pain point yet. Maybe they don't know that they need to go and get a filling done. Maybe you need to educate them on the importance of getting fillings done and an importance of a dental check every 6 months. They need to be educated on this before you have the solution to their problem. Because for most people, they don't want to be sold anything. Nowadays, in 2026 on social media, as we approach 2026, nobody wants to be sold to. Everybody's trying to eliminate noise. And the minute there's a marketing message out there or a sales message, to me, that's noise. And I have my blinders on for that. So if you can present that solution to me in a logical sequence that makes sense after you educate me, and then I'm like, hey, you know what? I should go back to the dental, I should go to a dental practice. It's been about a year since, but you need to be that signal to me to educate me on the importance of that, and then present me with that lead form to fill out after you're the known, like, and trusted source.
I've got a perfect example for you on that. I run a mastermind group where, because I was putting so much information out there, so many articles, so many videos, but I wanted a group where I could actually work with and get results for. And I was talking with this guy yesterday, very successful, and I'm talking 8 figures a year. He's bringing in 8 figures a year. And 3 months ago, he learnt about email marketing. He'd never done email marketing before, and he's already pulling in 8 figures. Now he's got 15,000 people in his database. He makes $20,000 a transaction. So he started to email, and his income over the last 3 months has just skyrocketed. As a result, he's getting more customers because he's in contact with his customers. And I'm listening to what he's saying, because what I do, it's not just about hearing the words, it's about interpreting what's behind the words. How is that business really operating? And we were talking about what's your definition of storyboarding there. I have to ask the questions on what do you mean by email marketing? He said, every 2 weeks, I put together an email and I send it out to all 15,000 people. I said, that's not email marketing. I said, that's spraying and praying. What he needs is, and as a result of this, I've now put together 2 mastermind sessions on email marketing and how autoresponders, CRMs, how to actually use that and put that storyboard system in place for him, because you need to get the right message to the right person at the right time. And the word that you used that I really liked, not that I didn't like the others, of course, but what I really liked was you said sequential. That was really the key, wasn't it?
It really does come down to timing. You said it right there. It was, the right place at the right time with the right message. Right. And 100%, because everybody's at a different place in their buyer journey. And I think a lot of people need to be cognizant of that, because they're not, right? They're just like, just throw up this promotional deal and throw it out to the world and see what happens. In some cases, you might be doing more harm than good, especially if you're coming across as with the impression of being sort of like, sort of overly salesy, or just, there's no connection being made there. It's giving asking for the ring before the first date type of thing. It's like, you gotta be smart about when you position a certain offer to a certain user. And I mean, I can go down this rabbit hole now, but the algorithms on Meta specifically have gotten very, very good. So good that, just what Facebook's looking for now is they're reading the copy of your ad and deciding the user to put that ad in front of based on the copy. Years ago, we used to have to pick interest-based audiences, people that are reading Time magazine, people that are like rugby, people that no longer do we have to do that, because the ad copy itself is being presented to the user that resonates with that ad copy best based on the algorithm.
Just a subtext there for those in America, we'll just say America. Rugby is a gladiator sport, by the way. So just a little translation there.
It's true. I love rugby. I play rugby, and I coach rugby. My kids all play rugby. And But you're absolutely right. We're Canada and US are a couple of the worst. We're not very good at rugby. It's not one of our core sports. So I'm sure they appreciate that definition.
Again, what you said there, I want to drill into a bit of what you said there. You could lose people, you said. That is exactly what I said to this gentleman yesterday was your database of 15,000, if you continue doing what you're doing, could very well drop to 5,000 quite rapidly.
Very much so, especially where we're at now in today and age where people are going through the process of eliminating the noise, deleting, unsubscribing from emails they don't want to receive. That's why, I mean, for the clients that we work with, it's imperative that what we're putting out there in people's inboxes is something that's welcoming, something that they want to open up and read. We want open rates of 60 to 80% on emails, and that's super high. Most people, if you're lucky, you're getting 30%.
Or 5.
Or 5, right? Well, that means you're probably not giving enough value. It's not a valuable email enough. And if you're in the business of trying to make majority of your sales through email and are just selling all the time, that's adding no value to people. And especially at a time when people are appreciating, a lot of people, especially a lot of people that I'm trying to get in front of, appreciate time more than money. So it's like they have families and stuff. You got to be aware of what you're competing with. And it might not just be competitors that you're competing with in the inbox. It's a lot of the indirect competitors as well. It's friends, family, e-commerce products, Black Friday's coming up. It's like all these things are competing with you getting in front of that audience. So how can you provide value on a regular basis? So people, when they see that subject line, they're going to open it expecting to see value time and time again.
Well, this isn't really, we've got off the line of dental here and we've got into a masterclass on communications, haven't we? And that's what it is about when you're marketing to somebody. Many years ago, I did a real estate class with a gentleman called Rick Otten, and he taught me, how do you sell something? You make it easy to buy. Now, only 5% of the people that are out there right now are buyers for you right now. The trick is you've got to find that 5% right now, because that 5% will be different next week. So you've got to continually find that 5% right now, every single time.
Yes. And I think what's important is being able to cultivate an ecosystem of users, because that 5% could already exist in your audience. You have to put 5% of that audience. It's at the ample time that they're going to opt into something. Right. So it's understanding, again, back to the journey, like where they're at in their journey. That's why I'm so bullish on, creating your own ecosystem of users, not just relying on an Instagram following or Facebook following, because those can go away tomorrow. You can lose those tomorrow, but you're never going to lose your email list unless you, like, to your point, unless you just spam them all day long and you get unsubscribes. But if you take care of that email list or take care of that community that you have, you can find a lot of golden nuggets within that community. And that's why it's so important. I think a lot of businesses need to really lean into that in the coming couple of years, as we lean more and more into AI for efficiencies, and you want to have that human element still exist. We do need to emphasize the importance of building that community or ecosystem for your business.
I said before that I have a mastermind group. Now, when people come along to that, I send them 4 different forms to fill out. Now, there are only 2 compulsory fields in the forms, and that's their name and email address. The rest are all optional, and the forms are related to 1, their social media, what they've got; 2, their company and its current status; and 3, their product range; and 4, their routines, their daily, their weekly, their monthly routines, their issues, their top 3 issues, all of those sorts of things. And the reason that I said before that there's only a couple of compulsory fields, people say to me, oh, but I don't know the answer to this. That's okay, because that in itself tells a story. If they don't have an answer to put into that field, that tells a whole new story. But being able to get that information, you can then create that storyboard, understand who their staff are, or who their clients are, and what their issues are as well. And it's not just the clients. If you don't have the staffing to support those clients when those results come back, and the staffing aren't in the right frame of mind and don't have the follow-up story they can go through with those clients, you still could lose the client as a result.
100%. You know what you find is that, and I don't know where that thumb's coming from, but I'm not doing that. So they randomly come up. You might have seen balloons a couple seconds ago. Some of these,
Yes.
yeah. But I think, one of the big things when we onboard a client, and we've learned this, the most important thing is having the smoothest onboard as possible. And this goes for any business when you're onboarding a
Yeah.
service. It could be a dental practice. You have to have that smooth onboarding process, because the minute usually somebody signs that dotted line to say, yes, I want you to do this work for me, they have buyer's remorse. So if you sign that dotted line and there's like 48 hours before a response, well, forget about it. They have their flags up now. They're looking for negative things to happen throughout this process of becoming a client. However, if you take care of them from the minute they sign that dotted line and you nurture them, almost like the way we have it set up is we essentially have like a hostess at a restaurant to wave you in and take good care of you and then introduce you to the cook or the strategist that's going to show you how we're going to actually execute on this stuff. And then having the execution team happening in a timely manner. And if you can make that process as smooth as possible, you as the agency or as the business or as the practice is going to have a very long leash with that customer or patient. Because let's say you do make a mistake in that first checkup or in that first month of service or whatever it is that you're doing. They're typically going to say, hey, that's okay. We'll let that one slide because they did this, this, and this right. And I think that's the big thing, is having that first initial experience with the business post onboard.
Wow. Yeah. The wow moment.
The wow moment. Exactly. Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is to have an unwow when you interact, when you're just getting started with the relationship. You mentioned the ring before. You don't need an unwow in there at the moment.
No, 100%. I think a lot of there's some people that just, some businesses that just do this wrong. And ones that do it wrong in a lot of cases are where you have a very aggressive sales team that have sales numbers to hit. And they promise the world, I'll give you everything. Sure, we can do that. Yeah, we'll blow you up overnight. And then they come on board and then you have a team that's got to hit this bar that's super high. And that creates a lot of stress for the account managers and executors of whatever it is that you're doing. And it's just so far off that it's unreachable. And then obviously it's a lunch bag letdown and then probably a cancellation in a lot of cases.
You're a digital marketing entrepreneur. You're branded like every other digital marketing entrepreneur out there from India, Pakistan, all around the world, over in Europe, in Poland and things like that. You are a digital marketing entrepreneur. Why are you different?
Yeah,
what
great
makes
question.
you different?
That's a very, very good question. And it's funny. We had an internal meeting here this morning. And the thing is, you're right. It's very difficult. It's a very saturated space, digital marketing.
Yes.
And especially when you're competing with agencies in say India that can offer services at a much cheaper cost, because they don't have to pay Canadian salaries or Australian salaries if you're in Australia.
Nobody
right?
can afford Australian salaries.
Yeah, right. Or American, right? So, but what we really lean into is understanding the audience for our clients. And, and a lot of our clients, they want to talk to somebody that understands and can resonate with their audience, come up with big ideas, not just be an executing team, but be a team that can give that creative direction. This is where a lot of digital marketing agencies lack, because they can execute, they can outsource things to India and do it real cheap. But a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners want to take off that marketing hat and give it to somebody else. And that somebody else is expected to come up with the creative ideas, come up with the direction, and then execute instead of just executing, right? I think that's a big piece that a lot of people miss. And we offer fractional CMO services, where I'm a fractional CMO for multiple businesses, because they see the value in having that creative director deploy and execute on a lot of the things they want to get done.
How are you capable of doing that? It's my business. I know my clients. I know my area. How are you going to be possibly capable of doing a better job of coming up with ideas than me?
Yeah. So
what are you going to do? Are you going to go and use ChatGPT, free version, and write it all out with that?
You hit the nail on the head there. No, because that's, and when I speak at conferences, it's one of the first questions I ask people, I said, how many people are using ChatGPT? Everybody puts their hands up. And then I asked them a second question. Keep your hand up if you're using the paid version of ChatGPT. 80% of the hands come down. So you're so limited with the free version that you can't upload documents, can't personalize your voice. You can't do a lot of things, right? But what we do, to answer your question, for us, AI does know more about our ICP, ideal customer profile, than I do. For example, if I'm trying to target 50-year-old female yogis, AI knows a better idea of their pain points and to create a message that resonates with them better than I could. It would take me a long time to come up with that message, where AI we use Claude, not ChatGPT. Claude has a much bigger knowledge base. We use that, and it can help us create that messaging much quicker, much easier, and do your competitive analysis much quicker. Now, the important part here is not just relying solely on the AI. That human element still needs to be there to direct and consume the information that is actually relevant, that's going to help move that needle. So the role, when it comes back to creative director, it's analyzing the information that you're getting very quickly from ChatGPT or Claude or AI, and then translating it and dissecting it for the business in a way that makes sense.
Now, with a lot of the AI specialists that I talk with, they use a terminology of pilot and co-pilot, that you need to be the co-pilot of this and you need to manage the results. Now, the question that I'd have in relation to that, given that pilot, co-pilot scenario, is you've got, 16 years of experience in doing this yourself prior to AI. You know the right questions to ask, the right things to look at, in contrast to someone like me who doesn't have the marketing hat, that doesn't have that marketing professional experience. Would that be a fair observation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, what's happening here is we've created certain systems in our business where we can rely heavily on the AI to do some of the heavy lifting for us, but at the same time, there are certain things we're spending a lot more time on than we have ever have before, whether that's having more client calls, going to physical conferences, meeting people, taking them out for dinner. That type of stuff is stuff that AI can never replace, and that we're going to always lean into more and more is that kind of stuff, and less on the tedious, monotonous stuff that AI's picking up the slack on for us. And that's relationship building and building that known, like, and trust and credibility with clients, which is something that I think a lot of digital marketing agencies that are relying solely and heavily on AI are missing out on, is that ability to do that. And that requires a certain skill set as well. I'm not sure if that answers your question, though.
It goes towards it. You know how to interpret what comes back from AI.
Yes.
That's the skill set that I don't have in relation to the marketing side of things. And I think that's really important.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think it's the approach to AI, because when I talk to other business owners and how they're using it as a tool to increase efficiency, but not necessarily enhance output, which is key. And one of the things that I do is I use AI as a co-pilot, and it is my thinking partner. Okay. So what I always do is when I ask AI to do something, I always make sure to ask me questions. I ask AI to ask me questions to gain clarity before giving me that output. This is important. Have Claude, GPT, Perplexity, whatever you use, interview you to give it that context, right? And then that way now it's not a time saver for me because I am engaging with it, but I am getting a much stronger output from it. And again, when using it as a thinking partner, it's given me a lot of new ideas. I have a board of directors that's AI driven. I have Mark Anderson, who's the founder of Netscape. He's on our board of directors. If I have some documentation from a lawyer that I want to scan and not have to pay a lawyer to do, I'm going to throw it through my AI first to translate it for me and pick out any things I should question or ask my lawyer about. Same with shareholder agreements. Same thing. Is this a good deal? What do you think? And it's going to be direct. I've trained it in a way where it's going to be blunt. It's going to swear at me if I say something stupid. This is the conversations I'm having with my AI, where it's now kind of helping me as a thinking partner.
Okay, you've made a couple of points there, and that is you spoke about the paid version, how it's able to use your voice. Now, people may not understand what that is because they're just using the free chat version. The second thing there that you mentioned was you've trained it. Now, that is crucial to getting reasonable response. The third thing there you mentioned was, coming from a law background myself, you're running your contracts through there and getting advice from AI on legal stuff. That scares the hell out of me because, again, what I was saying before, you have all this background in marketing. You're able to interpret what's coming back from it, whereas I fear you don't have that law background and you may not be able to interpret it correctly. That would be my concern there. So and I want to get onto Chat Elo as well.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. But I think we're hitting on something very important here that I personally, I speak on this topic. It's merging human creativity with AI efficiency. And it's super relevant right now, and it's super important. For example, firstly, if I see an M dash if I see the word unlock, delve, or elevate, these are like, there's these overused AI words that I see all the time, and it's AI content. I know when I read that content, I don't want to read somebody else's AI generated mumble jumble. I just don't want to read it. I don't care about it. And we've done testing internally where it's been picked up by the Journal of Brand Strategy, where we compared human and AI copy and advertisements. Human copy won 9 of the 12 tests because people resonate with that nuance that humans have when we write things, right?
Yeah.
This is important. This is important to know. Going back to that, we need to think about that when we go and personalize our AI. So my AI, I have a personal brand AI. This rewrites my emails for me. This, it helps me create ad copy. I use it to give me advice when I need advice. Helps me write website content, blog content, all this stuff. But it does it in my voice. It knows the way I talk. It knows the idioms I use. It has a writing and grammar guide baked into it to know my way of thinking. And has my personality, has my MBTI personality test baked into it as well. Transcriptions from all my podcast episodes. It all goes into it to understand me almost as good as my mother. So when it has that level of knowledge, I can confidently write a few points down and say, hey, write this email to Craig. And it's going to write it in the same way I would talk. And that's important.
And it's important for people to hear you say that, because they must get sick of me saying it, because yes, that's absolutely true. It really is.
I will say, though, to your point a second ago, because you brought up the lawyer and AI giving me advice on how to approach. Really, I wouldn't, and I know, because I know the way AI works, I'm not taking it verbatim, but it's going to give me things to think about, right? Like,
Yes.
what kinds of questions should I go back and ask my lawyer about? What kinds of questions should I go back to this business partner on this shareholders agreement? We're going to get that sort of intel to help guide the next step in the conversation. We walked away from a recent shareholders agreement because of the advice that AI gave us on some of the fine print in that contract. And we would have missed it. We would have signed it. We would have been locked in. But if AI didn't catch it, we'd be stuck in a really crappy situation with a business partner.
I spent, this is many years ago, Victoria Police here in Melbourne is one of the largest police forces in the world, something like 28,000 people, uniform staff.
Wow.
So it's equivalent to the Royal Canadian Mounties in New York and things like that. It's in the top. And I was in IT at the
Impressive,
time.
by the way, knowing the RCMP. Very good. The Royal Canadian
I
Mounted
worked with
Police.
them a lot while I was there, beating down suppliers on pricing and on contracts. And I worked with them to save Victoria Police $5 million a year on their IT contract, because in their contract, I found a single clause, 8 words, that made an entire service suite free of charge for Victoria Police, because I was able to analyze that contract. And I literally went through it word for word and eventually beat IBM. And
oh, wow.
It cost them $5 million a year. Just up there, I've got a nice little plaque from them as well, which I'm very grateful for. So yes, you need to go through those contracts. These days you can use AI, which is fantastic. But the point that I was trying to make with that was going back to you reviewing a marketing strategy from AI with your lens of 16 years of reviewing marketing strategies.
100%. And all that knowledge is baked into it too, right? So that's where I can really use it as that thinking partner.
You need professionals in every component. There's no such thing as a self-made man or a self-made business. You've got to have partners. You've got to have professional partners all the way through, coaches all the way through. Now, my biggest issue is, I'm going to come back to you on this one because I really want to get this sorted. Why on earth would I employ you to do digital marketing entrepreneur? And seriously, you've got to change that. You really do. It makes you too plain and vanilla.
What would you change it to?
And you've caught me on the spot there for that. Let me finish my thought and I will come back to you on that, okay?
Yeah.
As a dental practice here in Melbourne or over in Dublin or over in Auckland in New Zealand, why are you the best person to do my digital marketing?
Yeah. Okay. So for us, keep in mind, our company is called Merged Media, and it's called Merged Media for a reason. Okay. There's a 3-headed monster essentially in service in terms of what we offer. And that's search engine optimization. That's paid media, paid Meta, paid Google, right? And then you got the creative direction piece. Okay. So most agencies out there outsource a lot of stuff. And when you're outsourcing a lot of different services, it's like broken telephone, having different agencies talk to one another. So one of the reasons why we merged is because we became more versatile. Our Google Ads is talking to our Meta ad department. Our SEO department's talking to it as well. So if you think of a Venn diagram, all three of those services, Google Ads, SEO, and Meta, all need to work together. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. So our expertise lies in those three. And this is where they all kind of work together. And most agencies out there are not leveraging it in that capacity because they're only focused on one, hence merged media.
Right, you are. And I was having a similar conversation with my wife last night. Here in Melbourne, or in Victoria at the moment, we're having a bit of a crime crisis, and which is very sad to say and very sad to put out there in the world in this conversation. But we're not getting cooperation with our government, our police force, and our league and our court system. That Venn diagram isn't working for us right now. They're all trying to defend themselves and look after themselves.
They're in silos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about there about the different systems and the intersection there, that is really important. You don't just need someone to do digital marketing.
100%.
These days, we are far more mature than that. We must get onto the chat, hello, but you've got your chatbots, you've got your autoresponders, you've got your AI, because where does the AI fit in? The AI fits in because I want everything to be personal and related to me, because I'm the most important person in the world, and I only want things that are related to me that are going to be good for me. And that's where that AI fits into the whole environment.
Yeah. So, obviously as a digital marketing agency, if we did not adapt to AI, we'd be a dinosaur very quickly. So, we adapt it in our processes every single day, whether it's using a platform called N8N.io to do a lot of the automation with inbound sales. We get a lot of inbound. We're an SEO company. We're good at SEO. We get a lot of leads that come to us. And so when a lead comes in, let's say a lead comes in at 6:00 in the morning, they're going to receive a phone call. It's not going to ring. It's going to go directly to voicemail. It's going to be Dave, our sales guy, saying, hey, thanks for reaching out. You can expect an email from me shortly. A couple minutes later, they're going to get a text message. Hey, this is Dave. I see that you're interested in local SEO. I'm going to do a quick local SEO report and I'll get back to you in 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, they're going to get an email with a full-fledged SEO report analyzing their competitors and ideal keywords that they need to be found for to drive traffic to their website. That's all done through AI. So by the time Dave goes to work and has his morning coffee at 9:00 in the morning, he's got a report ready to go and he's going to pick up his phone and call him and talk about it. So a lot of that heavy lifting that previously a sales guy would have to do manually would take hours, which now takes minutes. Now Dave can spend more time calling up leads and following up with leads and less time doing the mundane paperwork.
So was Dave a B-grade player before, and now with the assistance of AI and the resources, is it Dave now an A-grade player?
100%. And putting Dave into that position where he can just be more effective, and mind you, his goals go up, right? Because he can spend a lot more time doing the things that matter. But that's what it comes down to, is that the things that matter to most people, they want to talk to a human to go over their digital marketing or SEO or Google Ads or Meta. They don't want to talk to some AI or some voice AI. We don't do voice AI. We don't see the big benefit in voice AI, a phone conversation that needs to happen between two humans, in our opinion, right? Right now, that's where we see
right now
the success right now, right? Until people get into the behavior of having conversations with AI. But where it stands today, we see having that personal touch is very important, and we would not automate that. But Chatello.ai, which is a product we created. It's an AI chatbot that lives on websites and answers those FAQs, converts website browsers into leads. This is important because what it's doing is it's reducing those, calls to clients, service-based calls, asking about these random questions. The AI chatbot web chat, Chatello.ai, can do that. We bake in the stuff I talked about a second ago about baking in the personality and the knowledge base. That goes into every single AI chatbot. So if you go to talk to a landscape client, that AI chatbot's going to be an expert on landscaping, okay? And what that does, it helps people get the answers they're looking for really quickly. And again, helps convert them into leads. And I will say, in addition to that, it helps people stay on the website for longer, which is a great SEO play because it's a signal to Google that you have a good website.
I'm just going to sit here because I had a question and you already answered it.
What was the question? SEO related?
No, it was about the gardener. So how do you load up all the relevant information? Because I don't want to just follow up yes, no.
Yeah.
yes, no. Are
Yeah.
you in one of these threes? Please enter this. I don't want to do
No,
that. I want to
no.
talk to it.
That's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what our intention was. We didn't like the sequential, you say this, it says this, scripted ManyChat chatbot type stuff. What
No.
we're interested in is creating that fluid conversation as if you're talking to a human. And like you can go to mine, jayhunt.social, jhunt.social. It knows everything about me. It knows I'm married. It knows I have 3 kids. It knows, this, that, and the other. And you can just have a full conversation. It's my AI clone, essentially. So, but this, in terms of having it on a website, it's fantastic because it allows people to get the answers they want to get, and essentially without having to talk to a customer service rep. Not having this on your website is almost like walking into a store at the shopping mall and nobody's there to say, hey, how can I help you?
Except for people put it down in the little bottom right-hand corner all the time.
Yeah.
Seriously. I want to
Chitello,
someone up the top.
yeah, I know, 100%. Chitello actually is customizable. So you can create, you don't have to have a little tiny icon. It can be dynamic. It can be as big as you want. We have clients that say, they might have their face on there with saying, hey, I'm here to help you if you have any questions. If you go to chitello.ai, there's one that says, try me, and it's a big bubble, and just click on it. You can put it on the right side, left side, wherever you want. And that's another, we found with a lot of the other competitors out there, they're very rigid in terms of the flexibility of what you could do with it. And with Chitello, we made it very, very open where you have that flexibility to customize it as you wish.
So as a client acquisition scaler yourself, getting there, that was my first effort, client acquisition scaler.
Yeah.
I will come back to you with other titles rather than digital marketing entrepreneur.
Say that one more time. Client acquisition
scaler.
Acquisition scaler.
I'll work on it. Okay?
Client acquisition scaler, a CAS, that could work. CAS. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Client acquisition scaler.
It's a first draft.
Not bad. And you came up with that. You're not even using ChatGPT for that. It's fantastic.
No, sorry. If I turn around and stick my finger in my ear, you'll be able to see that I do have a brain in there. If I take the finger out of the ear, it's just all light.
Yeah.
I set you up for this, Jason. This wasn't a planned podcast of any kind, but I must let you go. Is there anything that you'd like to say if we do turn this into a podcast?
Yeah. Hey, if you want to turn this into a podcast, people can go and check me out. Follow me on LinkedIn, Jason Hunt, Merged Media, or my website. My company website's merged.ca.
I'll put it all on the end for them as well. So I'll make it easy. Remember, how do you sell something? You make it easy to buy.
Love it. Craig, thank you so much. This has been a blast.
It has been. Thank you for that.